You won't believe what happened when a woman walked into a courtroom, looked her ex-boyfriend dead in the eyes, and accused him of shattering her heart into a million pieces. What started as a simple case about a broken phone turned into one of the most explosive confrontations this court has ever seen. Lies, betrayal, secret text messages, and an arrest that shocked everyone. By the time the judge delivered her verdict, nobody in that room was left unmoved. This is a story about love gone wrong, trust destroyed, and two people who just couldn't let go of the pain they caused each other. Destiny Williams was 26 years old when she walked through the heavy wooden doors of the Westbrook County Courthouse. She was dressed sharply, her posture straight, but anyone who looked closely could see the tension in her jaw and the fire burning behind her eyes. She wasn't here just to win a case. She was here to prove to the world that the man standing across from her had broken every promise he ever made. Marcus Reyes, her ex-boyfriend of nearly 2 years, stood on the opposite side of the courtroom. He was calm on the surface, maybe too calm, with his hands clasped in front of him and a slight shake of his head as if he already knew what was coming. These two had once talked about building a future together. Now they couldn't even stand to be in the same room without lawyers present. Judge Patricia Holloway, a sharp-tongued woman known throughout Cedar County for her no-nonsense attitude, took her seat and examined the paperwork before her. She had seen countless cases walk through her courtroom, but something about this one felt different. The tension between the plaintiff and the defendant was thick enough to cut with a knife. She adjusted her glasses and looked up, ready to hear both sides of a story that had clearly torn two lives apart. Destiny was the first to speak. Her voice trembled slightly at first, but as the words poured out, her emotions began to surface. She explained that she and Marcus had been together for almost 2 years, and for most of that time, she genuinely believed he was the one. They had talked about moving in together, maybe even starting a family someday. She trusted him completely, or at least she thought she did. Then one night, everything changed. She picked up his phone to check the time, and what she saw on that screen made her stomach drop. There were text messages from other women. Not just one woman, but multiple. And these weren't innocent conversations. They were explicit, flirtatious, romantic. The kind of messages that no woman ever wants to find on her partner's phone. Destiny's voice cracked as she described that moment. She said it felt like the floor had been ripped out from under her. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. Everything she believed about her relationship came crashing down in an instant. She confronted Marcus that very night, demanding answers, demanding the truth. But instead of owning up to what she had found, he turned it around on her. He accused her of invading his privacy. He called her paranoid. He told her she was crazy for going through his things. And that word, crazy, it stuck with her. It made her feel like she was the one who had done something wrong, even though he was the one who had been caught. But Destiny wasn't the type to accept being gaslit. Over the next few days, she did something that took immense courage. She reached out to those women. She found them through social media, and she asked them directly what their relationship with Marcus really was. And one by one, they confirmed her worst fears. They admitted to being involved with him while he was still in a relationship with Destiny. Some of them didn't even know she existed. Marcus had told them he was single. He had played them all. Standing in that courtroom, Destiny's eyes welled up with tears as she recounted those painful conversations. She told the judge that she wasn't just hurt because Marcus cheated. She was hurt because he made her feel like she was losing her mind. He denied everything, over and over again, even when the evidence was right in front of him. He tried to convince her that she was imagining things, that she was being irrational, and for a while, she almost believed him. That was the part that haunted her the most. Judge Holloway listened carefully, her expression unreadable. Then she turned to Marcus and asked him to share his side of the story. Marcus took a deep breath and stepped forward. His voice was steady, almost rehearsed. He denied the cheating allegations entirely. He said that Destiny had a habit of going through his phone, checking his messages, and monitoring his every move. He claimed that she was insecure from the very beginning of their relationship and that her constant suspicion had driven a wedge between them. He admitted that there were messages on his phone from other women, but he insisted they meant nothing. Old friends, he said. Acquaintances. People he knew before Destiny came into his life. He accused her of taking things out of context and blowing them out of proportion. He painted a picture of a jealous girlfriend who couldn't handle the fact that he had female friends. And he looked directly at the judge when he said, with complete conviction, that he never once cheated on Destiny Williams. But Marcus wasn't done. He had his own grievances to air, and he wasn't about to leave that courtroom without making them known. After the breakup, he claimed, Destiny spiraled. She couldn't accept that the relationship was over. She started showing up at his apartment unannounced. She called him dozens of times a day, and then, in what he described as a final act of revenge, she had him arrested. The courtroom went silent. Judge Holloway leaned forward, her interest clearly piqued. Marcus explained that Destiny had filed a false report against him, claiming that he had threatened her. He spent a night in jail before the charges were eventually dropped. But the damage was done. His reputation was tarnished. His name was dragged through the mud. He missed work and nearly lost his job. All because, according to him, Destiny couldn't accept that their relationship was over. Marcus also brought up the matter of his cell phone. He claimed that during one of their final arguments, Destiny grabbed his phone and smashed it against the wall. The screen shattered into pieces, and the phone was completely destroyed. He was countersuing her for the cost of replacing it. In his eyes, this wasn't just about money. It was about accountability. He wanted the court to see that Destiny wasn't the innocent victim she was pretending to be. Destiny immediately fired back. She didn't deny damaging the phone, but she had a very different explanation for what happened. She said that when she confronted Marcus with the evidence of his infidelity, he tried to grab the phone out of her hands. There was a struggle, and in the chaos, the phone slipped and hit the floor. It wasn't intentional destruction. It was an accident born out of a heated moment. She looked at the judge with tears streaming down her face and asked, how was she supposed to remain calm when the man she loved had been lying to her for months? As for the arrest, Destiny was adamant that it wasn't false. She said she felt genuinely threatened by Marcus after the breakup. She described instances where he would show up at her workplace, waiting outside in his car. He would send her long, rambling text messages in the middle of the night. She was scared, and she did what she thought she had to do to protect herself. The fact that the charges were eventually dropped didn't mean that her fear wasn't real. Judge Holloway sat back in her chair and studied both of them for a long moment. The courtroom was completely silent. You could hear a pin drop. Finally, she spoke, and her words carried the weight of experience and wisdom. She said that this case wasn't really about a broken phone or a night spent in jail. It was about two people who had lost sight of how to treat each other with respect. It was about trust that had been shattered, and pain that had been allowed to fester into something toxic. She turned to Marcus and told him that invading someone's privacy is never acceptable, but neither is giving them a reason to doubt you. She said that if there was truly nothing going on with those other women, he should have been transparent from the start. Instead, he chose to hide things, and when Destiny found out, he tried to make her feel like she was the problem. That, the judge said, was a form of manipulation, and it was just as damaging as anything else that had happened between them. Then she turned to Destiny. She acknowledged that Destiny had been hurt, deeply and profoundly, but she also reminded her that pain doesn't give anyone the right to act recklessly. Damaging property in a moment of anger, making accusations without solid proof. These were not the actions of someone in control of their emotions. She urged Destiny to take time to heal, to find closure, and to learn from this experience so that she could move forward without carrying so much bitterness. The judge rendered her verdict. She found that there was sufficient evidence to suggest that Marcus had been dishonest during the relationship, and she could not award him damages for a situation that he himself had contributed to creating. However, she also ruled that Destiny bore some responsibility for the damaged phone. She ordered Destiny to pay a reduced amount for the replacement, not the full cost that Marcus had demanded, but enough to acknowledge that her actions had consequences. As for the arrest, Judge Holloway made it clear that she was in no position to determine whether the original report was false or legitimate. That matter had already been handled by the criminal court, but she did offer a word of caution to both parties. She told them that holding on to anger and resentment would only destroy them further. The relationship was over. It was time for both of them to walk away and start rebuilding their lives. When the gavel came down, neither Destiny nor Marcus looked victorious. There was no celebration, no smug satisfaction, just two people standing in a courtroom, surrounded by the wreckage of what they once had. They had come in expecting justice, but what they received was something more valuable. They received the truth about themselves. As they walked out of those heavy wooden doors, neither of them looked back. Maybe that was for the best. Some chapters are too painful to revisit. The only thing left to do was turn the page and hope that the next chapter would bring something better. This case reminds us all that love, when it goes wrong, can turn into something unrecognizable. It can make good people do things they never thought they were capable of. It can twist trust into suspicion and affection into resentment. But it also teaches us that we always have a choice. We can choose to hold on to the pain, or we can choose to let it go. Destiny and Marcus made their choices, for better or worse. The question is, what would you have done? Sometimes the hardest battles we fight aren't in courtrooms. They're in our own hearts. And the only verdict that truly matters is the one we deliver to ourselves.